Good morning, everyone. It's Yvonne here to do What's Cracking reading. We're going to use the Ethereal Tarot this morning. Firstly, thank you for all of your support and your beautiful comments, and of course the personal reads I do for you. I do have time. My diary's calendar is quite open at the moment. It's been quite quiet after Christmas, so if you want a reading, this is probably a good time to grab one. Okay, what else do I need to catch you up on? I don't think there's too much this morning. I think we might just get straight into the reading today. Beautiful cut. All right, let's see where we're going. Okay, Two of Swords. So the Two of Swords is a card that has been coming up the last few days, and it does indicate that a new direction needs to occur, or a decision needs to occur that's going to take you in a new direction. Now, for me, the swords represent clarity, precision. They also represent cutting things free or freeing yourself up from things. The thing is with the Two of Swords, the person on the card, as you can see, and this is very similar to the traditional one, is wearing a mask. And so it indicates that this person is trying to do things because the moon is so small that she's trying to do things with very little information. And she may be in denial with that mask on about other information that's available to her. So she's trying to make a decision. This here represents the crossing of the heart, which means that this decision is obviously going to cause or create some sort of pain or disappointment by doing it, but it needs to be done because you're in a stalemate, you're stuck there. So whatever this decision is for you that's coming towards you will move you in a new direction, but it will give you clarity going forward as well. So even if the decision is going to be difficult to make, even if the direction is difficult to choose, it will end up being really positive. But it does look like you've got to take some sort of leap of faith. Okay, so for me, the Nine of Wands is here. For me, the Nine of Wands talks about going round and round in circles. It's the wounded warrior. It's like keep going into battle and keep getting injured. And that to me says there's some sort of pattern or cycle that you're constantly going round in. So for example, if you were thinking about leaving a partner or leaving a job, this is the sort of energy I would expect to see, where you need to make a decision. Do you stay and just accept things the way they are and just learn to live with that? Or do you make a decision to move forward to the 10, end it and move forward? But the wounded warrior for me is that constantly being hurt by something, but hurt by the same thing over and over again. You're not learning your lesson. All right. And some people do say to me, I don't know what the lesson is here. And I think sometimes we need to go through things a few times before we start to understand that lesson. Some of you could be dealing with somebody quite narcissistic here, whether that is at work or at play. Sometimes, you know, when the devil comes through, it does indicate that you're dealing with someone who may have narcissistic tendencies or have, that sort of ego type energy. And I've been watching a little bit lately on social media because we've been talking about this, and it's mostly men talking about the way women are treated, which blows me away. So men are very aware, you know, how we have in Australia, for example, very high rate of domestic violence and death for women in those circumstances. So when the devil card comes through, for me, this is you dealing with somebody. I mean, it could be a parent figure, but somebody here is driving you round and round in circles. And you may get up every day and say, I need to put an end to this. But for some reason, you still keep going in. Sometimes it's because we're convinced that we don't have a choice. So, for example, if it's a parent figure, I know that you get that whole community social pressure around you should love your parents, or your parents, you can't do that to your parents or whatever. But sometimes you just have to make those choices. If it's a partner, I feel like there's a very strong decision to move forward. And if it's for you at work, which makes me feel like it could be, and maybe it's time to either work out how to call them on this or move on. But sometimes these people know you won't do anything, so they just keep perpetuating that behavior. They just keep doing it over and over, knowing you're not going to do anything. And the more they do it, the lower your resistance becomes, the more controllable you become. So the more you people please, the more you try to please them, the more energy you put into something, the more this person has control over that situation. And if you're ever trying to understand this, and I do a lot of work with people on this, especially in the life coaching, if you're really unsure, look up Stockholm Syndrome, because that's what kidnappers do to keep their kidnapped victims under control. And we see people in relationships for a very long time wondering why they stay there. And it is that mental control. It's making you believe that you don't have that choice, that you can't move on, that your confidence is low, that your self-esteem is really ragged. And they will keep doing that because that's how they control. So if it's a work situation and you think this person can fire you if you speak up for yourself, well, then I'd suggest you go and talk to your HR department before you do that to know your rights. But anyway, that's what's coming through. I do see you moving away with the Six of Swords, and I do love to see this energy here, even though you're sort of in two minds about it. I do feel that you will speak to somebody here, possibly somebody who, yeah, to get yourself out of the well. That's what you're looking for, creative ways to move forward. So, you know, sometimes when people are having trouble with this, instead of taking that big bite of the cherry and going for something really big, sometimes we need to take little nibbles to make ourselves feel a little bit more confident and a little bit in control of the situation. It's about gradually taking our power back. The biggest problem we have with these sort of situations is feeling the need to explain ourselves all the time. And I always say to people, if you're going to say no, you don't need to offer an explanation. And the moment you start to falter and offer explanations, that person knows they've got you. So just think about how you respond to things. So maybe learn how to be more assertive, or, as I said, speak to someone in a HR department. If it's a relationship, counselling is the best way to go. Find a counsellor who can help you gradually build your self-esteem and confidence so that you feel that you can speak up. It's coming out a little bit in the cards lately, so I feel that we're becoming a lot more conscious of these sort of behaviours, these controlling behaviours, and I feel that for many people you're starting to realise perhaps the situation you're in is less than perfect. All right, let's move on. Okay, so I have the Five of Pentacles here. So I feel this is really indicative of this sort of situation. You know, the fear of having no money, the fear of having nowhere to go. The greatest fear is facing up to people. If it's a family member, you know, facing up to other family members who are going to be critical of you walking away from things. And a lot of them will have learnt the same sort of habits. So you get sort of hammered a little bit by other people in your family as well. So this could be what's going on here, but it could also be that you're worried about moving away from a job because you don't have the money or you don't have the resources. You know what? People don't realize how well equipped and well resourced they are. You know, the first thing we go to is how are we going to survive? How are we going to do that? But I bet you if you sat back and sort of tore your life apart, you would understand there have been times when you've been fronted with the most difficult decisions and difficult things to do, and you've managed them. We all have, oh, excuse me, we all have this sort of ability to confront situations. We all have the ability to say no. We all have the ability to face up to things that are scaring us or that we fear. It's only our mind that stops us. What will happen if I speak up? Yes, well, you know, the things that come up will be, where will I go? What will I do? Where will I find a home? There's always a way out. And I feel like here with that Five of Pentacles, there's a feeling of lack. There's a feeling of, how will I do this? Where will I go? There are always places. There are always people. All right, so we have the Lovers card coming through here with the Queen of Swords. Okay, that already, and we got the King of Swords here as well. I feel really strongly for some of you, this may be parents. or a parent and a parent who's codependent, in which case you often get sort of similar behaviours from both. So if one of them is sort of treating you, bullying you or pushing you around, the other parent will usually agree with them because they don't want to put up with their wrath either. If this is a work situation, you may be in a position where you have a manager above you and one above them, who both of them are being very difficult to work with. But to me, the Lovers card talks about a choice as well. And to me, it's about turning your back on something. Some of you will be seeking divorce, legal separation, or even certain things in your work environment. I don't feel that you're going to walk away from this without having some sort of, I almost want to say, some sort of resolution. You know, some of us will go, well, it's not really, you know, it's me that's being bullied, but maybe other people are experiencing that. So maybe we need to go through the right channels to make sure it doesn't happen to others. But the Lovers tells me there is some sort of choice here. And for some of you, this will be about a relationship and a separation here. I don't feel, looking at this here, that you're going to walk away without making sure that you are well cared for or well looked after. All right, so we have the Eight of Pentacles. There we go. So for some of you, this is definitely a work situation, but it could be, there's the Chariot. It could be, and the Wheel of Fortune. Oh, boy. It sort of feels to me with that Wheel of Fortune that if you go and speak to somebody here, and you may seek legal advice with this King and Queen here, that you're going to find somebody either at work or some sort of advocate who's going to work with you here. If this is a relationship, you've definitely got someone here who's going to be on side with you, but it's like this person will come out of nowhere. So maybe somebody would just suggest somebody to you, or I just feel that you may be seeking advice from somebody who can help guide you through the process here. Okay, so we have the Strength card. How beautiful. King of Pentacles. Yeah, some of you are definitely dealing, there's a brand new beginning though. Some of you are definitely dealing with a partner, a relationship, a situation. There may be two people involved here if it's a relationship. Maybe that you're in a very negative situation with one person and wanting to move on to somebody else. Very likely here. Because I do have two very strong King energies coming through. So maybe somebody is advising you that you're already in some sort of friendship with or situationship with, because it feels to me like you're getting advice from somebody. Some of you are getting advice from somebody who's very close to you. For others of you, it could be, you know, a person that you know really well that's guiding you through a work situation. But it definitely feels to me like you have somebody that you have trust in that's helping you through a situation. But for me, it feels like you're struggling with this decision, but I want to say to you, there is a beautiful brand new beginning at the end of it all. All right, let's have a look. Okay, so decision needs to be made, a new direction. You're going round and round, but not really deciding which way to go. We do have the Devil card coming through. You could be dealing with a Capricorn here, because there is quite strong Capricorn energy and Cancer energy coming through as well. Leo as well. So I feel like you're moving away from this situation. You're going backwards and forwards. I see that. But you've got this communication going on here. And I feel here with that World card, it's sort of like you feel like you're perhaps, I almost see the drain going. So you feel like you're really sort of going through it quickly. And I feel like you're going to seek advice from somebody here and do it through the right channels. So if this is somebody at work, you're going to make sure that they have to, in some way, shape or form, fess up to their behaviours. I feel like sometimes, you know, we walk away from things and think, well, we've done it, we've walked away, but we haven't sort of addressed the problem. And I have been in situations where, you know, the person right above me is being the one that's bullying, but the person above them thinks they're wonderful. So it's really hard to get heard then. And that's when you really need to go through a HR person or somebody in your area. All right, so we have Penelope Dreamweaver coming through. So let's have a look what she says. Seek visions and inspiration. Be aware that they are often subtle and require close attention. Fantasies, dreams, and daydreams are all places of an inspiration fairy can contact us, but she can also pop up unannounced in the midst of most ordinary activities. And that's why I sort of feel like somebody with that Wheel of Fortune may come out of the woodwork to give you a hand. It might be somebody who just sees what's going on. Some people have great intuition and they may actually see what's happening. Or alternatively, something could be happening to them the same way, and they may see it in you and want to give you a hand with that. Pay special attention to unsought inspirations. They have something wonderful to offer you, but it's up to you to catch them and bring them into reality. So again, I feel like we talk about the inspiration fairy. You know, sometimes people can just come along at the right time and sort of offer us an out on something. It may be, you know, that you're thinking of leaving somebody and you don't have anywhere to go, and the next thing you know, somebody's saying, well, you know, you can go here, or we can help you with this, or whatever, and they seem to come out of the blue with that. But whatever it is for you, if you are suffering any sort of abuse or bad treatment, there is definitely help for you out there. If you're unsure, you can contact one of the agencies in your area that like Lifeline in Australia. They will try and put you in the right direction. I'll leave you with that. Thank you.